Welcome to Innovate Marketing Daily, where we bring you the latest news and happenings in the world of branding, marketing, and business growth. Brought to you by MyPodcast.Media and Birdwell Solutions. And now your host, Benny Pekala.
I'm Benny from Birdwell Solutions. We partner with large companies to build products that leverage emerging technology. Now let's dive into the news. In the ongoing discussion about how platforms can handle moderation, Elon Musk just was an example of another lesson learned. So when Elon Musk came into Twitter and bought Twitter earlier in 2022, one of the things he was critical of was the former Twitter leadership's management of content. Specifically, he thought that they were overreaching and censoring content that perhaps should not have been censored, censoring content that represented free speech, that represented, in his example, he thought they were censoring opinions that were contrary to their own. So that was a big tenet that he kind of campaigned on and said he would resolve, he would fix. Recently, Elon Musk made a behavior that some people kind of criticize as similar to that he had rallied against. So what happened was that Elon Musk censored an account that had been releasing public information about him, keyword public information, because, as he put it, it was a threat to safety. And of course, he did apply this to more users. It's not like he just made this policy for himself. He applied it to releasing this publicly available information that tracks people. But it's an example of him doing what he criticized. So let's break down what actually happened just to kind of understand it a little bit more. So what Elon Musk censored was an example of doxing. Doxing is when an individual with a Twitter feed collects public information about where somebody is. So things, maybe they're in a press release. A lot of the times, and in this specific case, it's publicly available flight data, so where planes are flying. And when they're doxing someone, they post this information regularly to kind of share with the world where this person is at all times that they can, right? So several times a day, 10 times a day sometimes. So this is tricky because on the one hand, this is publicly available information that these people are using, that they're posting. So they're not doing something confidential, they're not breaking any laws. They're exercising their free speech. On the other hand, they're potentially putting someone else in danger, right? If you have security threats and somebody's trying to harm you or your family, an account like this might be a valuable tool for them to find you, as unfortunate as that is. So I chose this because it's actually an example. It's a history point in how, as humans, as consumers, as business owners, we're grappling with the problem of moderation. This fine line between, hey, it's important to have free speech, but also it's important to protect safety, protect people, protect public health and individuals' health. And to look at this from a high level, we see Twitter, which in Elon Musk's criticisms was choosing to censor information about COVID. We see him acting on that and then choosing to censor information about his own individual safety, which he applied to other people, but that affected him. So we're going back and forth here as consumers, as business leaders, to say how much moderation is the right amount of moderation. Of course, right is a relative term. But I think this is interesting because it shows some moderation is important. Until, and even if these things ever become laws, there is a responsibility of the platforms to protect their users. For all the criticism Elon Musk may receive from this, some of it which he deserves, it is true that his main criticism of Twitter was that it wasn't transparent. So at least he has been transparent throughout this process about what he's doing, and to the accounts that he is censoring because of this rule. So accounts that dox people, he's censoring them. He's telling them that, right? He's being very clear about why that's happening. It's kind of like giving someone a speeding ticket and telling them, hey, you were speeding, right? As opposed to just giving them a blank ticket. So we'll see. We'll see, like as somebody who advises tech companies, this is a case study in moderation. It makes me think, hey, if you have user-generated content on your platform, on your application that affects your business, what is your moderation policy? If your moderation policy gets criticized or perhaps has something controversial happen to it, what record do you look back to say, hey, we were following industry best practices? How do you define industry best practices? Certainly it tells me that if you have user-generated content on your site, study the moderation that happens. Be well educated. And don't be afraid to change your policy, but certainly, right, like look in your policies to protect the individual and to remain transparent. Those are at least the two things that, and I suppose protect the individual is a little controversial, but those are the two things that I read from this that are relatively standard. Beyond that, how you choose to balance protecting the individual versus protecting free speech, that's up to you. But study, be well educated, and be careful on how you moderate user-generated content on your platform, especially as it relates to free speech and safety. All right, so that's our segment for today. We'll watch as this develops for any other insights, any future moderation policies that Elon Musk makes, that Twitter makes, that other companies make that may be similar to this, and how that might apply to companies that have a similar platform, right? That have similar issues that they're grappling with. If your business is launching a new tech product, you're looking for somebody to help you figure out moderation, to build social media, to use emerging technology, let me know. Happy to help. That's our episode for today. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us on Innovate Marketing Daily, where we bring you the latest news and what's happening in the world of marketing and branding and business growth. On behalf of everyone at MyPodcast.Media and Birdwell Solutions, we'd like to thank you for joining us and invite you to join us Tuesdays through Fridays every week. Find us online at MyPodcast.Media for all of your podcast production needs. And for all of your Web3 development needs, visit birdwellsolutions.com.